start share screen. So the holiday tips for, we'll start with slideshow. So that's definitely a good point to go over. And it's not going to be too long, but then I will talk about how to keep ourselves healthy during this holiday season. So the challenges of holidays are that average American gains 7 to 8 pounds over the holiday season, and frequently they do not lose it. And average diabetic gains twice as much, and again, usually they do not lose it. Of course, there is always emotional burden and stress, and that could be because some people lost loved one, relatives, or friends, and it's the first time when they celebrated. Or there could be toxic relatives, which kind of being a family holidays, you will be encountering no matter what. And of course, we had COVID-19 related. Now it's not the same, but COVID is still there. So there is still stress and emotional burden, and there is a financial stress. And for financial stress, I'll give you my own tip. I have a credit card that I use, and it gives me points, but at the end of the year, I can convey them into dollars, and that's the money that usually goes toward holiday spending. And it 1 to 2% of your spending, depending on your credit card, it could be up to 5% on certain things. And I buy everything on credit cards. That way I have accountability. I pay it off every month, but as a result, I get those, in a sense, free money that I can use for holidays. Then I don't have to be stressed about what I'm going to, how am I going to find the money for that. So that's that. So how long is the holiday season? And usually we consider between October 31st and January 1st. But in reality, this year it feels to me that it's longer, because I've seen already last weekend people were doing trick-or-treating, and even the week before people were doing trick-or-treating. And it's probably a little bit of rebound because of a COVID situation. And now that we all opened up for everything, that's people are going to more extending their social obligations for longer, for more parties to go and more trick-or-treatings to visit. So, but in general, it's about 63 days, and it's usually 9 weekends, plus actual Thanksgiving Day and maybe day after Thanksgiving and Christmas and New Year. So maybe 21 days that you're actually going to potentially cheat, but you don't have to.
How about almost guaranteed? I mean,
yes,
most people do not worry about health on those big days. They just don't.
mm-hmm.
And the only way I could do that is if I stayed home. And I'm not doing that.
And it's okay. It's you have to own it. I posted something on the Facebook about holiday tips or Thanksgiving tips, about not Thanksgiving, trick-or-treating tips, that maybe it's a good idea to kind of buy the candy bag from kids, give them that candy, and use it to get something that they want, non-food related. And another one was to get that money and get those candies and go ahead and donate that. And I had a lot of discussion about those tips, because I mean, of course, one group of patients, or not patients, of friends, they were suggesting that this type of behavior can lead to flare of eating disorders, or creation of eating disorders. Other people were worried about if you are going to give it those candies to somebody, who are the recipients? Do the recipients truly need those candies? And those are all valid questions. So anyway, but my point was always, if you have a celebration, go ahead and celebrate, own it, be happy about that, and don't feel guilty. If you choose to do that, you choose to do that. With the program that I coach, besides our concierge practice, we teach our clients and ourselves, stop, challenge, and choose. So you stop, you think if you want to do something or not, and then you choose. But after you've chosen whatever it is, go for it. It's kind of guilt-free at that point, because you made a decision to do that or not to do that. So what's the point of feeling guilty after that?
And
So
I think everybody ought to give a couple of tips that they've used in the past. I've got a couple that I've used for Thanksgiving that's helped me in the last couple of years, and I figured other people have some ideas too.
Of course, let's see what's here, and then I would love to hear from you. So here, one of the tips: eat breakfast the day of the party. Don't go completely hungry, because otherwise you'll be eating everything and everything. Anything and everything in big quantities, but appears to be that breakfast emission may influence energy expenditure more strongly than energy intake. So you will not be burning out calories as fast if you miss your breakfast. So drink hot beverage before party. I saw the study where if you drink half an hour before something hot, and it could be coffee, it could be tea, it could be even hot broth or bouillon, it will reduce your appetite, and that kind of will reduce consumed food. So that is nice. And caffeine ingested between half hour and 4 hours before meal may suppress acute energy intake. It means, again, you are going to eat less. So portion distortion. Looking at those two circles, black circles on a white background, think of that as larger plate and smaller plate. The smaller plate amount of blackness appears to be larger compared to on the left where you use larger plate, but in reality it's exactly the same. So if you want to use smaller plates for everything, you will feel that you have more food. And apparently kids, when they were served with larger plates and bowls, they consumed nearly 50% more calories compared to the smaller plates. So use smaller plates rather than larger plates.
Is that the study by the guy at Cornell?
I don't remember. I have this link from 2014. We can click afterwards and we can look it up, who was the author. But that kind of makes sense.
Yeah, he was, I don't know, in the Department of Food Science, and he had all these studies, and he wrote a book about all these things. And later he was found to have cooked the book, so to speak, in his papers, and had to retract a bunch of them. So just was curious if that was his work.
This is still available. Usually if something is retracted, it's not available anymore on PubMed, but this was available as of last year. So, but we can look it up. Then colors of the plate plays a role as well, and red and yellow tend to make you more hungry, and blue and green makes you less hungry. So that is one thing to keep in mind as well. And then plate contrast, when you have food that has more contrast or less contrast. So if you want to eat less, so if you have this rice on a black plate, you are, I think, more likely to think there is more of it. But if there is a less contrast, like on the right side, kind of dark bluish or even black plate with dark leaves, it appears to be not as much, so you may eat it more. So if you want to serve greens to your kids, grandkids, and so on, you may want to choose green plates because they are going to kind of disappear almost, and kids are not going to notice that they are eating them. So that's some kind of idea there. The shape, I wanted to see if shape makes difference, but there was not much particular difference for the shape of the plates. But what's important is to eat slowly. So if you eat slowly and chew slowly, that definitely will increase your satiety, and therefore you are going to have time to process that you have eaten the food, and small portions will create satiety, and if you eat slowly. So that's important. During party, put more vegetables. On the right side, you can see how fun it is you can create those vegetable trains, and use those trains instead of chips, because they're usually less calories, less fat, more nutrients compared to potato chips or corn chips and so on. And they're crunchy. If you like crunch, they will serve the purpose, and you can definitely use it with your dips.
Do you know how to make those, Dr. Goldenberg?
I mean, the vegetables on the right?
Well, yeah, like how do you attach those cucumbers? And do you have anything in the bottom, or is it just the veggies? Because I think that's adorable.
I think you can use the toothpicks.
Toothpicks, yeah.
Yeah,
Toothpicks,
I would
okay.
use toothpicks. And yes, I think all of those vegetables are stuck inside, so they are in the bottom. They go through. Yep. But yeah, that's very
Now,
cute.
do you feel that hummus would make an acceptable dip for some of
Oh.
these things?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, hummus is great for that.
Yeah, you just have to be
Pappardelle,
careful of
hummus.
the tahini content.
Yeah,
But
tahini,
sometimes, yeah,
I
tahini
thought
can be
tahini
really
filling.
caloric.
Yeah, it could be caloric, but it's it has good, I mean, relatively good fat, and it has protein.
That is
I think.
absolutely adorable.
Yeah.
I gotta do that. Gotta do that.
I'll see. Maybe I'll try to do that for Friday. I had
Oh,
some
wouldn't
other
that be
ideas.
fun? That would be fun. I'd like to be good.
Yes. So, and hide your vegetables in dishes. Many kids, for example, don't like vegetables, and many adults don't like vegetables, but you can put them inside of dishes where they kind of assume something neutral taste, and people may not even know they're there. You can make protein shakes with lots of different vegetables, and again, not everybody will even notice that they're there. Like quite neutral taste of the spinach could be mashed into cauliflower together with mashed potato. I definitely like that idea of adding cauliflower to your mashed potato for Thanksgiving or other days when you use that. And you can see on the right, it's just beautiful, all the colors of purple cabbage and green spinach and orange, and that looks fantastic. So 2-bite rules. If you stop, challenge, and chose to eat some kind of dessert that may be too filling, first of all, choose the one which maybe heirloom recipe. So your whoever aunt or whoever has some kind of heirloom recipe, and you definitely want to have it and not to miss it. Have 2 bites, and first bite, do it always do it slowly. First bite, slowly chew, enjoy, do it second time, and think to yourself, stop, challenge, and choose. Do you want the third one? Because frequently after 2 bites, our receptors already saturate, and they do not necessarily bring new sensation. And if you ate already 3, 4, 5-course dinner, you may not even have space in your stomach, and therefore you may not even want to finish that dessert, but at least you enjoyed it. And yeah, if you choose to have third bite or fourth bite, that's okay, but keep that stop challenge and choose a rule to see if you want to continue. Walk it off is definitely a great idea to walk after dinner, because we do spend more calories. It's actually, we don't spend as many calories walking, but still we are going to utilize our muscles. We'll have less muscle or less of insulin resistance and so on. Therefore, it will help us to burn out those calories that you ate. Recipe rehabs, and that's where I wanted to see what are your maybe recipes that you can recreate and make them into less caloric intake wise, or what are your tips? So you mentioned you have tips for Thanksgiving.
Well, you did say a lot of them. But last year, I decided at ours, everybody brings a dessert. So there are 4 or 5 desserts. And so I made the decision last year, I will take I took, I think 3, maybe 4 bites, but not the whole thing, like very, very small. But I had to only pick one, because I used to, oh gosh, I'm going to do this or I'll do that. The other one was, usually, in our family, we get the sweet potatoes, we get the mashed potatoes, and then there's the corn and the peas and okay, only one type of potato and one other vegetable, but it has to be a good vegetable. Like it could be Brussels sprouts, but it can't be corn. The corn is one of the bad ones, so you can only pick one good one. You can pick more than one good one, but usually there are more bad ones, so you allow yourself one bad one. Don't drink before you eat. That's a lot of calories, and then you lose your
composure.
You just do it, and your mind says, oh, I'm just going to do it anyway. But if you don't drink, you've got your wits about you a little bit better. That's another one. And try to eat the protein first.
Yes, definitely.
And those are the things I did last year. And actually, it's the first, I can remember I've always gotten indigestion after Thanksgiving. And last year, I remember I did not. And that was a good thing. I am doing better.
You're doing fantastic. And if any of you could have continuous glucose monitor on you during that dinner, that could be great eye opener.
What?
Continuous glucose monitor.
I am going to have one over that holiday, just to see what happens.
Yes, exactly. It could be eye opener, and it could be behavior modification immediately. It's just go. Yes. So any Bonnie or Dick, do you have any other possible tips or?
I'm not sure I'm the right one here, because I'm planning to do a deep fried turkey. Barbara's for the same meal, Thanksgiving Day, a Chinese roast duck, and probably, as requested by my brother-in-law, a roast beef. So
a what?
That's
roast beef.
Oh, okay.
We have family coming in from all over, as they have for many years. My granddaughter, 10, likes to bake and make desserts. And there's just so much. Is there any culture that doesn't celebrate around food? And it's just, I've been brought up that way. You go to visit somebody, you bring some pastries. It's just somebody comes to visit, you say, oh, you put something out. And the idea that food is dangerous to you. I know it's real for many people. We've got paleo people coming, we've got gluten-free, we've got celiac, we've got people on the Ornish diet. I mean, and my wife accommodates them all. I mean, she figures out how to do it and she takes it as a puzzle and a challenge. But, you know, somewhere along the line, food became medicine. And
Mhm.
this, I'm being bad. I'll eat the bad food. I'll eat the good food. That's, you know, that I have a real problem with those attitudes. You eat what you choose to eat, and then you deal with it. And so I'm the wrong person to ask about this, clearly. You know, but by the same token, I'm the one who cooks the fried turkey, but my wife, and the fried turkey is really, has anybody here ever had deep fried turkey?
No, never tried.
No,
When it's
I'm a
done right,
vegetarian.
it is stupendous.
How can you deep fry, because it's so big? You have to have some huge container.
Yeah, it's kind of a southern thing, and you can get pots that you fill with oil over an open burner, or now we have an electric turkey fryer. So it's really simple and easy to do. And it is not greasy, and it is 45 minutes to cook a turkey.
Wow.
So, and it's foolproof.
So it's deep fried inside of some kind of oil, correct?
Yeah, we use canola oil always. Peanut oil is, in theory, better, but we have an allergy, a peanut allergy in our house, and peanut oil is much more expensive than canola oil. It would appear. But you'd be very surprised at how little oil is actually consumed in deep frying a turkey. It's not like fried chicken. It's not like anything at all. Just like that.
And
So,
I think inside, because it's such a big bird, inside the meat doesn't even get that fat. The fat is pretty much to coat the top.
Yeah, no, exactly. It doesn't penetrate. It's just very, very tender and perfectly cooked by time, and it's just works. And I started doing it when I moved to this part of the country, and it's ever so much easier. Now you can't put stuffing in it, so that's a problem. But anyway, the food safety issues around stuffing are you're not supposed to cook stuffing in the bird, if I recall correctly. So,
and again, from diabetes perspective, deep fried is better than stuffing.
oh, so, good to know.
It's not going to raise blood sugars. Of course, I don't know, depending on the oil, if you use wrong oil, it's probably can turn into whatever aggressive oxidized oil. But again, if it's not going to be inside of turkey, just remove the top.
No. It's, well, I mean, the turkey is cooked from the inside out. I mean, the turkey has, as you get it.
Yeah.
So it's just, and the deep fried duck, well, not the deep fried, the duck is going to be sous vide, which we do a lot around here, and then it's roasted. So we used to do a Szechuan duck, which was deep fried, which is the best way to make duck. But Barbara has said, no, we're not doing that. There's a lot of fat uptake in that. So I don't know. I mean, it just, I've been thinking a lot about this lately, about how food has become a cure and a killer. And, kind of less of a celebration. It was recently.
But again, I think it celebration part is correct. And in the past, we would have maybe 20 celebration a year, birthday, whatever holidays, maybe 20, maybe 30. Yes. So, but right now we are living in society that we have access to the food that used to be a celebration every day. You can
Mhm.
go and make whatever dessert every day, but in the past it was not the case. You wouldn't have access to all of those rich foods. On a day-to-day basis, you would eat more simple stuff, and potentially that will have less added sugar, less processing, and whatever less. And I think that's where the it translate, or I don't know the word even. So I don't know if it makes sense.
Yeah, I for a couple of years was on the Ornish diet, which eventually I was advised to get off it for my health. And it just was not a healthy diet. And I think you've said that, Dr. Goldenberg.
It's very, very low fat, and your body still requires the good fats. They're essential fatty acids, means that your body cannot create them. So you have to have those essential fatty acids, definitely.
Plus, you become a very annoying person to all your friends around you when you're on a diet as restrictive as that.
Yeah.
So,
Just ask my kids what I was like when I was on what's his name, Gregor's diet. You know, the vegan one. Yeah, I was not a pleasant person. They're like, Mom, will you eat some real food?
Now, see, I have a problem with diets because I dieted all my life and I was always really, really heavy. And it wasn't until I just said, I'm not doing diets anymore. I'm just going to eat what I want to eat. I just won't eat as much of it. And many days a week, I'll try to be very good. And then I can have a little of this and a little of that. And in the last, I'm going to say 10 years, I've lost 55 pounds just doing that.
Wow,
So
great.
I do
Yeah,
have,
that's great.
now, because I'm working on the glucose, right? I do work on certain things to get better at them. I mean, I think we're all a work in progress, or we wouldn't be on this Zoom. So we have to. So the last 2 or 3 months, I've been working on glucose, and I found out some really interesting things. I'll give you one example. I have denied myself pasta for so long because it's so bad for me, right? But I always made my own marinara sauce, and I didn't put a lot. I never put sugar in or bad stuff, and it's good. That's healthy. It doesn't do one bit to my glucose. Nothing to my glucose. And in fact, if I eat just a little bit of pasta with a nice amount of marinara that I can make with, and a lot of times I make it with broccoli so that it looks like meat sauce. And if you cook it long enough, it does. You can't tell it's broccoli. You think it's meat. But anyway, seriously, you cannot tell the difference. I could amaze all of you with the most amazing meat sauce. If I have a vegetable along with that, I'm good to go, and I've treated myself, and I feel like I had something really good, and I can lose weight on that.
Yep.
So I've learned a lot about just moderation and eating what you like, just not so much of it. So I think Dick and I are on the same page. We shouldn't be obsessed by food, but in one way I am, because I'm trying to find new and great ways to cook things that I thought I hated and find out I can really like them if they're cooked right.
Yes, of course.
Because I love to eat. That's one of my favorite things to do in the world.
Oh, here.
So, I'm learning how to have fun with it. And Dr. Goldenberg, I just hit another, I'm within a pound of my low from last year. I lost 2 pounds this week since I talked to you. So anyway, it's working. So I just thought I'd make that comment. I don't think diets are the thing, because you can't stay on them.
They do not work.
They don't really work. You can lose a certain amount of weight, but unless you change everything somehow, some way, it isn't going to stay that way.
So diets are bad, but lifestyle modification is not. I still do believe in lifestyle modification, because if you talk to somebody who drinks a pack of Mountain Dew every couple days, that's honestly is not that good for your health. And
Yeah.
if you can make those changes and create new habits and stick to them, I do believe that works in the long run really, really well. And one
100%.
tip in terms of having less carbs but still having good carbs is to use kabocha instead of maybe even sweet potato. And this Friday we are going to make kabocha soup instead of butternut squash. So I want to try to use kabocha instead of butternut squash and make a soup out of it.
Could you spell that, please?
Yeah, I was
Kabocha
just gonna look it up.
Kabocha. And I actually I learned about this kabocha only last year from the program that I coach, because it's on the list of allowed vegetables. Yeah. And
Butternut squash, is it?
it's not, it's higher on the program. That's the kabocha. It's higher on.
It's a big round green
Exactly like
squash.
that. Yes.
And I do have a celebration that I played in one of my bands at the Madeira Farmers Market on Thursday, and Rachel and Jess came to listen to the music. But one of the big things about playing in a band at a farmer's market is at the end, the vendors give you food, right? So you can say, I'm playing for food. And I got a kabocha squash. So we haven't cooked it yet, but I was very happy to bring that home and say, hey, here's what my music career is bringing you, Barbara, a squash.
That's fantastic. I tried to grow this year that kabocha. Ended up very little. I got 2 of them, and the rest didn't grow that well, but that's okay. It was first year. We'll see how to grow it next year. I'll probably have to start it a little bit earlier. But I'm planning to try to grow it again and have bigger, hopefully.
So, the idea, to me, and you've been very helpful on this, certainly, in making me conscious of carb counting, which I never did in all of my life. But if you, as Lynn does, I think probably Swanee does, adjust your normal thoughtless behaviors most of the time, then you can have a Thanksgiving, you can have a Halloween, and
absolutely,
and return to just knowing that they are special, different from how you would normally be eating. And normally you can eat very well, as we have all discovered, but the leading toward but so that's why I don't know, recipe rehab. Certainly that's great for day to day, but if my mother made green beans with cream of mushroom soup and fried onions on top, as is a traditional Thanksgiving dish, if that's what you got to have, you got to have it.
That's what you have it. Yeah.
I like Dick's attitude.
Green bean supreme, I think that's called. Isn't that the dish?
Go with the flow. When in
It's
Rome.
such a great comfort food. Oh, I love that one.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I will say that, based on a little help from Dr. Goldenberg and some other things, I'm down 15 pounds over the last couple of years. So it's not like I'm completely oblivious to this, but I refuse to accept the concept that if I have a hot dog, I'm being bad. It just
no, and that's the thing. You are not bad. You are not good. It is what it is. But you chose to have a hot dog, and that's okay. And some days I will have hot dog and that's okay. Or some days I will have pizza, and that's okay too. Mine is gluten free because otherwise I'll be very kind of Scott will not
Ornery.
be happy, and I'll have
Yeah.
a reaction.
You
So
know, I have fallen in love, and I don't like substitutes for things. If I want bacon, I'm going to eat bacon. This
Yeah.
turkey bacon doesn't, but I love turkey hot dogs. And now the other ones, I'm eating it all day long. If I have one of those big, juicy, fat things, I can hardly eat them anymore because I like the turkey one so well. So
Have you ever
it
thought
does
about having a
change
tofu?
you. It does
Have
change.
Have you ever thought about having a tofu one? See, I'm a vegetarian, so
Oh,
you know.
tofu.
no,
I mean,
tofu
I
could
might
be
give me paste.
Oh, you just haven't had it prepared correctly. Oh, it's so
Exactly.
delicious.
Okay,
yes.
I challenge you. We should all have it. Bring in something that nobody else would ever eat, and but you fix
I'd
it so
like that.
well
So
that they would try it and say, "Oh my gosh, what is that?"
so
Uh,
that maybe our November 17th celebration in the office. We can do that.
That's a
Have
great
you-
idea. Or even the first of the year to kick off the year, like with new foods, that introduce you to new foods and try some new things.
Have you ever had the ottolenghi tofu dish, which required it was with black pepper tofu, I think, and then my wife converted it to an air fryer recipe, so that's seriously cut down. But this is one of the more wonderful non-Asian tofu dishes. We eat a lot of tofu in our house, so
Well, I'll tell
I'm
you
a
what,
big
if somebody
fan.
could teach me how to like that, because I know it's very healthy, and I can't eat kale, and I can't eat quinoa.
Oh, no.
Hey, I'm just learning how to eat falafel. Or no, not that.
Oh, that's
no,
good too.
no,
That's
not
good.
that. I don't think that's good for you.
No,
But you,
falafel is
you can
okay.
bake it. Yeah, you can bake it. You don't have to fry it. Because I don't
What is
fry
it?
anything. I don't
What's
use
that
any
green
oils.
stuff? Tabbouleh. I just learned to
Tabbouleh.
like tabbouleh, and that's
That's
pretty
good.
healthy.
Mhm.
So, every year, last year I learned to eat Brussels sprouts. This year
Oh,
I'm
I
eating
love them.
tabbouleh. So, I'm still a work in progress.
You should try
As we
Brussels
all
sprouts roasted. Those are really good. And there's different balsamic vinegars you can put
Well,
on
yeah,
it.
I was going to go there immediately. Brussels sprouts roasted with balsamic vinegar.
Now
Oh,
they're good
that's
in
on
an
the
air
good
fryer,
scale.
I hear. I haven't tried it yet, but I think I would like.
Yep, yeah. The air fryer has, I don't want to say it's been a game changer, but we had chicken wings yesterday. No fat involved at all. Just
Mhm.
baking soda on top and crisp and delicious with Korean sauce. So air fryer's been helpful.
What do you mean baking soda on top?
Baking soda or powder? I don't know. They 1 second.
He's asking
Yeah,
his
because
wife.
what is baking soda doing on top
It
of
might-
I was
chicken
going to
wings?
ask myself.
It might be
I
cornstarch.
heard that.
Well, you put this on the chicken wings, and then you get a crispy skin,
And it's baking soda?
Baking soda?
or
Oh.
baking powder, and I never
You
can tell
don't
the
use
difference.
oil?
Oh.
No oil. No oil.
Hmm.
Let me
See,
just,
we're getting so many tips here.
Like,
Yeah,
I never use
baking
oil on
powder.
anything.
It's baking powder.
Baking powder.
Yep, baking powder, and yep.
Baking
Yes.
powder. Okay.
Mhm.
Mhm. I'm throwing a couple of things in the chat. I didn't think I'd have any
Yes,
suggestions,
Please
but
make a copies for yourself. Because it looks very interesting.
and the tofu recipe, you can also, instead of doing it in a pan with butter, you can use a very little spray of oil in an air fryer, and it works quite well.
Like a olive oil pan.
Yes, exactly. I think olive oil is maybe too highly flavored. You'd rather have a canola spray. But everybody should get an air fryer for Christmas or Hanukkah. I do
Maybe
believe.
you could tell it. I have one, but I have limited use of it, but I use it a lot on that. Wait a minute, something's happened here. Just a minute. I can't. Let me get rid of it. Okay. So I think it would be very interesting to hear, since you use it a lot, maybe we could do another, if we have a short in the next couple of weeks or before the holidays, if you you and your wife come on
Yeah.
and tell us some of your favorite dishes and how you do them in the air fryer. I think that would help me, maybe some other people. Would they be
Oh,
interested?
absolutely.
Anybody else be
I
interested?
think, I think my people will love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. I'll talk to Barbara about it. I mean, some people, we have a different kind. We have the kind that is a convection oven, not, which is different.
But my understanding was convection oil is technically air fryer. Like we don't have air
Yes.
fryer, but we have convection oven, which can be
Mhm.
divided into halves, and we use only top instead of
Mhm.
air fryer.
Yeah, it's, and I'm not really sure on this issue, but it gets super hot air that is circulated. So I don't know if it's an air fryer. Convection oven is a different animal from a regular convection oven. The temperatures seem to be higher, but yeah, everything from homemade French fries with very minimal oil. I mean, basically things that you would normally deep fry, garbanzo bean snacks, just lots of things that.
Never heard of that. I mean, only
Yeah.
in salads. Would love to know about that.
Mhm. Oh, okay.
Those are so good.
Well, I'll consult with Barbara and see if we can't put together a little something, and when we've got it
Cooking
ready.
class. We'll do cooking class.
Well, not so much a cooking class, but I just would put together a little PowerPoint again, and then you could use
Great.
it whenever you
Perfect.
might want. Would be the thing to do. All right, well, that's good. That'll give me something, yet another thing on my list of things to do.
Excellent. Excellent.
But,
Okay.
okay, great.
Yeah,
It's a lot of
otherwise,
fun.
Yeah, it's 8:17. It's almost time to go. So
I'm
I will
hungry
stop.
now.
Yeah, I'll stop recording.